Welcome back. Bit of a soggy start to this Thursday morning, and you're watching BT Vancouver. We're talking right now about BC's economy and slowly reopening of the province. We're in the middle of Phase 3 right now. Canada Day yesterday. We're in full swing of summer. Liza Yuzda joins us right now, legislative reporter from News 1130. Liza, welcome back. And there's a bit of cautious optimism from Dr. Bonnie Henry and Adrian Dix when it comes to Phase 3. Why don't you give us the latest on this?
Well, I say cautious optimism and a bit of anxiety. So we're now, as you said, we're fully into summer. Travel is going to be happening. You know, I, for one, I'm up in Mount Washington this week and staying at a friend's place up here. And so I think a lot of people are starting to move about the province. Other people I know are going to visit family in other parts of the province, and they've withheld from doing that. So the good news about that is that people are getting that love and closeness that they need to other people. But the bad news is that we're moving around the province. And so one of the really clear messages is that no matter where you go, you have to take your COVID good manners with you. And that means doing all the safe things that we do, keeping your 6 feet distance, wearing a mask when you can't, washing your hands, and just being really aware. And she said, you know, having that plan that if you get ill, if something goes wrong, what are you going to do? And making sure that the community you're going to wants you there. And the other big thing that's happened that I think is a relief to a lot of people is they're easing restrictions at long-term care and assisted living facilities.
Right.
Of course, since middle March, people haven't been able to go visit their families, and people who are in there have had to, you know, try and deal with Skype and FaceTime and talking on the phone while looking at someone through the window, which is obviously only possible for a certain number of people living there. If you have dementia or anything of that sort, it gets that much more challenging. So this is starting. It's not immediate. They're working on the plans at each care home and each health authority of how this is going to work. But basically, each person, a resident in one of these facilities, can have a designated person to come visit them. That person will have to make an appointment, will have to wear a mask, and will be instructed on how to do that properly. And then will only be able to visit in a certain geographical location there, and that will be decided on each facility as to what works best for them.
Right, and senior centers have been hit particularly hard during this pandemic, given the isolation that seniors feel, and then some of the deplorable conditions we've been hearing back east with some of these facilities. We'll touch on the masks in a minute, but I want to get your take on this. In Richmond, a couple of days ago, we had the first ticket handed out by a bylaw officer when it comes to enforcing physical distancing. There was someone who was trying to organize a basketball tournament at a Look at this. People are being diligent, but this also speaks to this call-out culture that we're living in right now.
Yeah, I think there are two ways. I think a lot of people have been concerned about, sure, there are these rules, but who's enforcing them? So I think there will be a lot of relief for people to know that there are inspectors out there. They are doing their job. They are looking into complaints that they receive from people. They are doing inspections. You know, we saw Brandy's nightclub that we talked about. They are doing inspections. They are checking into places, and they're checking into complaints. And so, you know, I think that can be a relief for a lot of people. I know some people will be distressed saying, hey, I just wanted to get together and play basketball. But, you know, we all will pay the price, whether financially and healthcare costs or personally if someone we know and love gets ill. So I think you're right. It's a double-edged sword. People are calling out others for behavior they think may be inappropriate. But the province has said that they will be looking into this, that they have inspectors out there looking at it, that they are expecting people to follow a plan that they make under WorkSafe BC. And obviously, those checks are being done.
And let's get back to the mask issue. Provincial Health Officer Dr. Bonnie Henry not making them mandatory at this time, but you're expected to wear one if you're out in an area where there's a lot of public, if you're on transit, but a lot of people still having an issue with this.
There has been a lot of heat for the provincial health officers across Canada and the federal health officer. Her issue with masks, as I've heard it over the last 102 press briefings, is that some people cannot wear it. Either physically they can't put it on during a short period of time, or there's some medical impediment to them wearing it. She was asked about transit in particular, drivers, riders, saying they're not seeing people wearing them. And she was very emphatic, saying you are expected to wear a mask when you can't keep 6 feet distance if you are able to wear a mask. And that is the vast majority of the population. So if you have one, put it on. If you're not 6 feet from someone, put on a mask.
All right, well said, and thanks for taking some time out of your vacay to chat with us this morning.
My pleasure.
Okay, Liza, we'll talk to you next week.
Care.
That's Liza Yuzda, News 1130's legislative reporter, with some great details on Phase 3 in BC.